Hello, my name is Annie McCary, President of the African American Heritage Club, and I welcome you today to the African American Heritage Club Presents. And we're playing around with some new ideas through our eyes. Where the African American Heritage Club, let me just say, our mission is to acknowledge, to celebrate, and educate about African American contributions throughout the world. And we've been very, very fortunate to have some really, really exciting guests be on our program, and today is no exception. So I'm excited to welcome today a gifted storyteller, singer, performer, Victoria Burnett. Victoria has toured across the United States and internationally, blending her talents as a teacher, a librarian, and vocalist to create her own unique form of storytelling. She actually calls it story musicology. I have to make sure I pronounce it right.
That's right.
So Victoria, welcome. To start us off, can you share with us what is a story musicologist and how this powerful way of storytelling came to you?
Well, I want to thank you for inviting me to come here today. I'm just excited about the opportunity to talk about something I'm so passionate about. I crafted the word or created the word story musicologist because I use both elements of music and storytelling. And I can't say that it's an original thing. It's something that many of my family members have done, and I've seen demonstrated in my home when I was coming up. My mother was a musician, and my dad was a pastor of a very large church in Washington, D.C. So I grew up in Washington, D.C. at a great time where I was hearing and learning lots of music. And I started playing the piano at age 4.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was a busy child, and now they would have probably given me Ritalin or something else to slow me down. But I was a very late comer in the family. I was the baby, and my older sister at that time was already 22. Mm-hmm. And so my parents, as they say, they were just tired. Uh-huh. And so they made sure they kept me very busy. I heard the speaking or the storytelling from both my mother and my father. My dad would be rehearsing, of course, the sermons or what he was going to teach, because he also taught at Howard University. So, and prior to him teaching at Howard University, he taught at the Washington Seminary. So I was listening to him prepare his sermons and also teaching other young men who wanted to be pastors or speakers or ministers. So I was listening to those type of stories from my dad, and I was listening to the everyday kind of stories from my mom, and the teachable stories came, and the family stories came from my mom. Mm-hmm. So what else could I be but to combine the both?
Yeah, and I love just where you articulated just that brief introduction about how you got into it. It actually is a form of storytelling. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the experiences that you've had? Well, first of all, tell us what a professional storyteller actually, your life as a storyteller, how do you live that out in your professional life?
A professional storyteller is one who tells stories that are all memorized. They can be stories about anything. But what makes you professional is that, of course, you are paid for it and that you are hired by people to share your story. It's a process. A professional story usually never uses a book with them and shows them. when I was working through schools, one of my degrees is in library, in the library, and then another degree is in music, and another degree is in education. So my master's is in integrating the arts across the curriculum. Basically, a professional storyteller will stand up and deliver a story. And delivering for me comes from something you've created or something that you've researched. A classical storyteller will tell classical stories that may come from other writers, other authors, such as Hans Christian Andersen. So if you're going to do it classically, it has to be what the original storyteller has written.
Okay.
And you'll have to memorize that. But again, you won't be reading it. All right?
Okay.
So
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question. Are there particular themes for storytelling? You mentioned classical.
Yes.
What are some of the other categories of storytelling?
well, in order to eat regularly, it's wise not to just tell one type of story unless you have perfected that one type of storytelling. I have a wonderful friend who is a storyteller who I just saw in Jonesboro, Tennessee, and his specialty is Hans Christian Andersen stories, and he's amazing. He remembers every line, and so it's a careful line of storytelling and acting, but it's more storytelling than the acting. Storytelling, there is no line between you and the audience. You want the audience to incorporate and be involved and listen and possibly even respond to what you're doing. So yes, there's different types. My specialty is, of course, African American tales, the ones that you would not have normally heard, and the old Brer Rabbit tales, and ooh, gosh, my mama tales. My mama tales are stories that she told me when I grew up. So I tell personal tales, Christian tales from my belief, and or Bible tales, I should say, and also other stories from all over other countries and other cultures.
Now tell me, because there's so many questions I have for you, but tell me, what is your audience when you're telling a particular story? Are you looking for a particular audience when you're on the road? Because part of your bio is that you've traveled all over the world telling stories, and so are there particular audiences? Do you schedule your concerts, for lack of a better word, ahead of time so that when you go to a particular country, you have a particular audience?
Okay, I guess I should explain that. Basically, the audiences or the companies or the organizations or the corporations that hire me because they hire me for specific things. So when I was storytelling for Kaiser Permanente, I came in to tell story to people, that was children and adults, who were about to go through chemotherapy. And I know about that because I'm a cancer survivor, and I'm very grateful to be here to tell more stories. When I was hired at a storytelling festival in Australia, then they hired me because they wanted the cultural tales of my culture, African American culture. And they were asking me to kind of compare them to the Maori tales, which are the indigenous people of Australia. So I came in, I didn't tell their story, but I talked about the similarities between the two. And then I told African American tales. So that's one. When I go to Germany, it's they wanted stories of overcoming the things in their culture that they want to go beyond, their association with Hitler. So I come in and I talk about the tales of how African Americans survived slavery, and so those are those sort of things. So.
And that begs another question for me is when you're telling the story, say in Germany, and you sort of alluded to it, you're actually seeing it through your eyes first and then seeing it through their eyes. And
Yes.
so there's that coming together of that.
Yes. So it's not just my eyes, though. So what most people don't recognize in storytelling, especially any kind of storyteller, even whether you want to be professional or not, it's important that you do your research. So most audiences, well, some audiences may not recognize that you've done so much research before you get on stage so that you can bring the truth of your culture and other cultures into the story so it's not just my opinion. So I can back that up, you know. So my most interesting story, and I'm digressing here, but I just got to tell you,
Please.
I was telling at Timpanogos Storytelling in Utah, and I was talking about Cathay Williams, who actually did serve in the Army for 2.5 years before she was ever caught. And I said that she was working at Fort McCavitt. And there was someone in the audience who was a scholar on it, and he questioned me on that. And I went back and checked my records, and he was right. It was actually Emmanuel Stantz who was at Fort McCavitt in that area. So, but he, meaning the guy in the audience, was impressed with it because I actually had my paperwork there. So, and I went back and looked at my footnote. It was like, you're right, I messed up. So that's what, if you're serious about storytelling, you want to make sure that you are including the truth about things. Now, if you're a liar, if you're a jokester, if you're a jokester and you tell those jokester tales, then you've got free
Range or
you can tweak the truth a bit, you know, but everybody knows you're tweaking it.
Now, when you tell a story, what do you? Are you in an auditorium? You mentioned Kaiser Permanente. Are you in, or does the venue sort of change if you're in a patient room telling the story? If you're out in a foreign country, or if you're in, you mentioned also that you did storytellings in areas in the United States. Is it always in a convention center? Is it always in an auditorium? Is it, do you get to pick your venue?
Yeah, of course, I get to pick the venue, but I don't dictate the venue. Basically, I just got back from Jonesboro, Tennessee, and even though I've presented there over 7 times representing the state of California, the thing, however, I got to say, I didn't perform this past time 2 weeks ago, but 2 years ago when I was there, their largest tent is 1,500 people.
A tent?
A tent. It's outside, and all you do is stand there with the mic. And you stand with the mic and you deliver. And the stage is bare. You don't have props. You're not with a scarf and all that. You just stand and deliver the story. So their smallest tent in Jonesboro, Tennessee is 250, sometimes 500, depending upon what they do. But this whole town, which is called Jonesboro, Tennessee, and they sponsor this. The year I was there was well over 65,000 people that came. And these are people who come from the United States and all over the world. And there's about 10 tellers who are from the United States and 10 tellers from all over the world. So you get to hear the best. And so it's an exciting thing, and sometimes I'm in a classroom. Sometimes I'm teaching for master students, which I have taught. I'm not teaching there now at Lesley University, and these are people pursuing their master's degrees.
And I have so many questions that keep popping up, and I'm way off script here. But in terms of, you mentioned different storytellers. Is there ever a time when you were with a group of storytellers where you were like a concert where you have the backup storytellers or the story, you open with your story and then another main event storyteller. How does that work? Is it
Ooh.
always solo or?
That's a good question. No, it's always solo. So it's always when you're out there, you're giving your all. I sometimes I'm hired just as a soloist, and if I have a one-woman show, then I will be doing that one-woman show. If I am with a group of storytellers for the festivals, people want to hear
Yeah,
more than
tell
one.
me
Right.
about the festivals.
There's Timpanogos, there's Jonesboro. I'm really talking about the one in Jonesboro a lot because I think, I shouldn't say this, but they do it so well. They do it so well, and I'm just so proud of them. Smaller storytellers telling venues, they will have smaller tellers. I used to tell at the San Juan Capistrano Storytelling Festival, held in San Juan Capistrano, and she hired 6 professional storytellers. So this person comes up for say 20 minutes. This person comes up for 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. You got an hour, and then there's a breakout where you can go and hear more of their stories. When you get to hear several storytellers, that's called an olio.
I never heard of a storytelling festival. That's a new concept for me.
Yes. Now, the closest thing to it, it is the Moth. So everybody may be familiar with the Moth, and that airs on PBS, and it's a wonderful program. But many of those are beginning storytellers or intermediate storytellers, and now just a few professional storytellers they have at the very end. So check out the Moth. That's that's another venue. But there are festivals if you just look them up.
Yeah.
Online.
Online. Wow. Well, I tell you, I'm just so excited, and all these questions are going through my mind here. But I did want to ask a little bit more, and you alluded to it in the beginning, about your growing up. Because clearly, growing up in a household where there was the craft practice all the time and there weren't any scripts. And so you just grew into that. Was there any resistance to that? Did you go through the adolescent stage where most people said, no, I'm going to live my life and my parents don't know what they're talking about?
Oh, no. I guess I lived in that home, so that's normal for me. We used to play games in storytelling and in singing. We would sing songs together. My whole family sang. One of our games would be to sing for the musicians out there in the audience who may be watching this. We would sing this in thirds, and then if we wanted to have a good laugh, we would sing a hymn in seconds. So it's very hard to do. So it means that you would sing the first note of the scale, and then you sing the third note of the scale, and then you sing the next third, which makes a chord. But if we wanted to do seconds and be goofy, we would sing in seconds, which would make the sound so dissonant. And so, we would fall out laughing. And we did those things when we would be sometimes at home, and other times we would be in the car going somewhere or on vacation. My dad would say, and his pet name or his loving name for me was Victoria. And I miss that greatly. Victoria. And my mom would call me Victoria when I was not living up to what they had expected me. You're not living up to the name week. You are victorious. That sort of thing. So my mom and my dad would play these games with us in the car and say, okay, Victoria, you are going to be singing the bass line of this. And I would, and my dad would say, I'm singing the soprano. And we would all laugh. And my mom would say, I got to be a baritone today. And my sisters would be altos. So we would create songs where we would change the vocal parts. That's how much music and storytelling was incorporated in our life. Consequently, my parents paid a lot of money for me to be in, to learn the piano, and I entered University of Maryland on a full scholarship, piano scholarship. And when they heard me sing, the jury, which is what professors there, before you can go to your final stage, of receiving your degree, they switch it off in your, say, your junior year or your sophomore year. And they switch it off. They switch it off for me and said, no, we will not award you a bachelor's of music in this. And we want you to switch it, and you'll be a vocal in voice and minor in piano. And then my parents said, no, you've got to stay longer, and just get the education. So when I graduated, I had a double degree. So I had a degree in music, piano, and voice and education.
Wow.
So and I went off to teach music at the schools then. And then from there, I went to other things. So I had many interests. I wanted just to insert this. I'm grateful. Those of you who are parents that might see this, or grandparents, my parents never told me that I had to be proficient. They said, you know, you are gifted with so many gifts that we hope that you will operate in all of them and not just think that you are stuck in one particular thing for your life, because we don't know how the world is going to change. And you must be able to support yourself. That's the wisest information I could have gotten, you know. And so therefore I didn't think I needed to. And the only thing they really told me they were adamant on is like, no, darling, you have to get a degree in education, because when all else fails, you can teach. And they were right. I'm still teaching. So not full time, but I'm still teaching. But I'm teaching voice, and I'm teaching storytelling, and I'm excited about those things, that I still have skills that I can impart. That's my life's mission statement, that I want to leave something behind and develop others with a love and an openness to other cultures, an openness to learn from people that are different from them. You know, and that's every audience that I go to, whether I'm singing or whether I'm storytelling or just teaching. That's my goal, that I'm going to leave you walking out wondering, I don't care what your is about. Just have a desire to do better for yourself and to give better to others.
Wow. We're getting close to our time, but I have one other question, and then I'm going to ask you to give us a sample of part of your art form.
Okay.
I want to know a little bit about your life here in Laguna Woods, and you said you're still working, so you're not fully retired.
Yeah.
What brings you joy living in Laguna Woods?
I've only been here maybe 3 years, but I've enjoyed the fact that I have peace and quiet when I come home, and that my neighbors, I have some great neighbors, and I always cry when they leave, you know, whether they transition or whether they leave to go to another facility or go to another condo or home here on campus. But I don't totally lose them. I'm grateful that they have been open to who I am, and the ones that haven't been, I simply ignore. And so you're missing out on good stuff. And I don't mean that in a prideful way, but I'm just grateful to be here, and the safety that I feel. I was living in another city. I was in Dana Point. I do miss the beach. I have to say that, you know, walking outside of my door for that. But I'm grateful that I have people who around me, that I found the people who accept me for who I am.
So Victoria, you've got some upcoming events that might pique the interest of our audience. So tell us what they are and when they are and where they are.
Well, absolutely. I'm always working for Segerstrom Performing Arts Center, and most of those shows are sponsored through schools. So the only way I know is to tell people is you can call Segerstrom and they'll let you know. The other thing is the thing that's coming up really soon is November 9th. A group that I sing with professionally is called the Spirit Chorale of Los Angeles, and we will be at UCI Dominguez Hill University, and we will be there. It's a whole evening of spirituals and a little bit of gospel, but spirituals, gospel, possibly some Duke Ellington, and back to spirituals. We give you a whole plethora of the African American experience through music, some classical music you'd never heard too. And it's not a choir, please, we get offended by that. It's called a chorale.
A chorale.
A chorale, and the director is Byron Smith. And so if you want to hear more of that, you can go online and check that out.
Okay. I didn't promise the audience, but you promised me that you would do a song in a story, a story in a song. So tell us what it is and then go for it.
Well, I'm not going to tell you what it is, and it'll explain itself. And that's the thing of what storytelling is. We don't give away the whole thing.
Okay.
You have to listen, which is something I think our country needs more. We are losing the ability. Children seem to be losing the abilities, and adults are that way too. So I'll stop preaching and I'll start sharing. This is how I usually open a storytelling session. Almost all of them I open this way. And so I just need to know where to look. Should I look at you? And I do want
look
you.
At the camera.
Oh, okay, great. I really want you to participate though. So.
Okay, tell me how.
All right, you'll know.
Okay.
We are weavers of the story. We are keepers of the word. Every story is a treasure. Every story must be heard. Every story must be heard. Every story must be heard.
Wow, Victoria Burnett, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. It was my pleasure having you, and to our listening audience. Again, this is the African American Heritage Club. Victoria Burnett, thank you so much. If you have an interest in our club, we meet the third Saturday of every month, Clubhouse 5 from 3 to 5 p.m. And if you want to learn more about our heritage and you want to celebrate with us, please come and join us. Thank you, and we'll see you next month.